years, I've walked the line between worlds and am well versed in death. But I want to have faith in humans. Give me something to believe in. Earth below me, sky above me, fire within me. Brought to you by UPRN Network. I'm Trish Mo, and this is The Missing Piece. Welcome. Good evening. We are here broadcasting live from the beautiful New Orleans 105.3 FM and United Public Radio Network. I would like to thank Carnation for sponsoring this hour, first off. And it is Mo Monday. I'm Trish. I am so excited and honored and pleased to have Patti Negri here. She is known as the Good Witch of Hollywood, right? Known for many recurring roles on the Travel Channel and Discovery Plus's #1 show, Ghost Adventures. Many. Is that my microphone right here? Chris, you have 2 podcasts. Is that correct?
I do. My regular one is The Witching Hour, which is I've been having for a couple of years now. And then a couple months ago, I started one called Patti Negri Haunted Journals. Because The Witching Hour is all my witchy stuff, and it's kind of educational, and I have authors and how to do this and how to do that, just to make life easy, control. But then people still wanted to know all the ghosty stories, some of the stories behind the scenes, or my investigations over the years and years and years, and all the places I've traveled. So that's kind of like a little storytelling one. It's fun.
Oh my goodness. You have, I've watched quite a few. How long have you been doing? I don't remember the first place I saw you. I know it was years ago. And to me, when we see fellow mediums and witches, it's exciting. Well, first of all, I kind of lived under a rock for the last, 40 years of my life. So it's like I didn't get out much in the spiritual world here amongst our community. But what I was intuitively led to you because
Cool.
I had gone back to my hometown, Holton, Kansas, and saw that you were going to be visiting there in June, I believe, to Hotel Josephine.
Yes, I am.
And then that same day, the way my daughter and I, this was, probably about 5-6 weeks ago, when right before I contacted you, and my daughter and I had been visiting some cemeteries, and she's much like me, and she was watching you on, unbeknownst to me, one of her little shows on YouTube, with the Rebecca Zamolo fam.
Yes.
And I'm like,
she's a
well,
Sam fam.
It's just meant to be, because she's like, I know. So it was so exciting to
that's
do that
funny.
and have the opportunity to get to meet you. So thank you and welcome.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for having me on. It's happy to be here. A fellow like-minded soul like me is always nice. I've been doing this. Actually, I've been doing this my whole life. I've been talking to the dead since I could talk, 3 or 4. I've been like doing weird things with herbs and plants. Same thing. I would be stuffing stuff in my mom's purse saying, it'll give you money. Like, why are you stupid? It'll give you money. And I did my first seance when I was 7 or 8, but I did keep it really separate too. Because I was a Hollywood person and I was entertainment, and then I ran a production company. I am like, these people cannot really know that, I talk to dead people, and I, dance around, cauldrons and burning fires in the cloak. It's like, not really. So I kept it separately until 2008, actually, when there was a big corporate crash, and, the whole world and corporate entertainment became a dirty word, and reality. I'm like, this. And somebody asked me, they go, your ability of lifting the veil to do a seance. And I'm like, nope, not going to do it. I can't. That's my private life. I keep it private. I don't lie about it, but no, I can't. Please. Nope, I can't. And I'm looking at my empty calendar, going, no, all my shows dried up. And I'm like, no. Well, what's the name of the show? And they go, well, it's called Mobile Home Disaster, and it's on country music television. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
well, nobody will watch that. Who would watch that? I didn't know
Right?
what reality become. Everybody would watch that. So I'm like, okay, I will do it. And it was just such a great experience. All of my experience, my improv and sketch experience on the back, I got to be the real me. I got to help this human little girl that they all thought was crazy because she was drawing vortexes on the ceiling. I'm like, no, there
Yeah.
is vortexes on the ceiling, and help this little spirit. And like, this was so fun. And they carry me, they just follow me around with their cameras. This is great, but I'm never going to do it again because this is my private life. I just don't think they would mesh. Then of course it aired, and the very next day I get a call from my big aunt, and she goes, "Patti, I saw you on TV last night." And I'm like, "You did?" Oh. And I'm like, "Voice gets higher." And she's like, "I didn't know you were into the paranormal." I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I love the paranormal." And I'm like, and we had the best conversation ever, the most personal. I think she was talking tons about ghost adventures, years before I even went on there. She's like, and I might watch the show Ghost Adventure. Like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm out of the closet. I'm out of the broom closet. I'm out of the psychic medium closet. What am I doing? This is who I am. This is my passion. I'm
Yes.
teaching people in a corporate, I'm teaching, motivation to HR departments, and, how to be nice to fellow workers. It's, why don't I teach magic? Why don't I teach people well beyond that office mode? And I've just never looked back. I have a production company. I don't have time. And then sitting here in the middle of it just became my world, and it's been great ever since.
It's funny how, and that's why you're so inspiring to me. I had no idea about that story, obviously, but it's kind of similar to me because I just came out of the broom closet within the last few years, actually, because I was, kind of years ago an outcast of my church, and I just so different and awkward, and trying to hide it, and trying to it eventually gets so loud that you can't hide that part of yourself. So you
Right.
either isolate yourself, which I did for a very long time, or and then I joined Chasing Prophecy last fall. And I was like, oh, okay, this is easy. And then they told me how many listeners we had, and I was like, wait, what? I was the same thing, what if somebody sees me? What if somebody I know happens to, and after that, which is still kind of, most people from the East Coast probably are familiar as far as New Orleans, but I'm still in Kansas, so there's probably a lot of people that are like, what? Wait, Trisha? But
What?
it's a very great feeling. And yes, as far as the school, you started a school, correct?
Yes, yes, this past year. I do my passion really is teaching, whether I'm on TV or my YouTubers or my everything else. It's I like it. I'm not empowering people. I'm showing people how much power they have, which is our belief system. Um,
Yes.
so last year with two partners, we just started Magickus. So very much tongue in cheek too. We wanted very approachable, almost like a real life Hogwarts. But we don't teach anyone A1. This is it. It's a old school mystery school. On staff, we have witches, vampires,
Oh, that's so
Satanists,
cool.
voodoo, hoodoo, Catholic priests, New Agers, crystal people, ufologists, and we say paranormal investing. Here's options. Here's whatever. We don't
Mhm.
teach anything dark. We don't teach anything. None of the people. I mean, none of those people really are dark. But we don't teach anything dark. But we teach magic of the world, and then you make your choices.
That's
It's great,
amazing.
and
And
it's really
I
affordable.
found well, I was looking at the website, and that's what I saw. There's so many spiritual schools and stuff pop up in the last few years, but a lot of them have actual tuitions, like colleges that are very expensive, and especially in this day and age, a lot of people can't afford that. So that's what was impressive about yours. It is very affordable. and
Yeah.
it's very easy to navigate and
Yeah. It's
kind of determine, you know, which way you want to go, even as
yeah.
if you're a beginner.
Yeah, if you're
Um,
beginning, you don't know. You could take some basic
right.
spell class. You could take numerology class. You could take Reiki classes. You could take how to develop your mediumship ability, psychic protection ability. But yeah, $10 a month gets you one class a month. Now there's people who
And
pay a
that's
lot more than that. There's people who take
right.
8, 9 classes a week, 8, 9 class. But it's, $10 a class. That's a cup of coffee somewhere. So I just didn't it's not about money for me. Money is fine, and we all need money and use money, but to me, it's just this is my passion.
Giving back, yeah. And that's, I've realized as I've gotten, because I was kind of the same as you, a lot of the older women in my family, like my grandmother died before I was ever born. So
Mm,
a lot of the people that were more into that I'm connected to more now that they're on the other side of the veil, um, they're not around physically or weren't when I was growing up to teach me these things. So I didn't have, and I've noticed that so much more. People are reaching out saying, "I want to learn this." I have a strong desire and calling towards nature and magic and all of these things, but they don't know where to turn to. And so that's
right.
what I thought was amazing about yours. And then
Thanks.
I think we take for granted sometimes things that people I guess, I mean, I'm really weird, so things that I guess I don't know what normal is, but
I don't
what
know what
normal
normal
people
is either. I'm pretty weird.
but
I don't know what normal is.
I think we forget that not everybody lives like us sometimes. So when all the negative things that, I would ask my friends, okay, well, so what's your first impression of what witches do or and they're like, I don't know, you like go sacrifice animals and do this and do that and find a toad's foot and I'm like, oh, simple things like people not realizing that a lot of those names are names of plants and roots. Like we're
Yes,
not
exactly.
actually going and hurting a little tiny newt and, like there it's actually roots and plants and that's the old names. But
Yeah.
simple things like that, I just I don't anyways. I never occur I'm like, oh, I guess other people don't realize that. So I guess I could see where we're the bad ones.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, again, and Hollywood did that. Television did that. They have the evil dark witch. Yes, we all have weird warts and we're green and we eat
yes.
babies. No, I don't even. I mean, I can't kill anything. Really, my husband's
Yeah.
like, "Got to kill the ant." I don't want to kill the ant. I
No.
talk to the ant first. Let me talk to the ant first,
Yep.
and I'll tell him he can leave. I got rid of like mice or rats in the thing. I gave him an ultimatum. It's like, you can have outside, you can get on the trees. I have a big backyard, but I might have to get drastic. I give you 24 hours to leave. They left,
Yeah, and
so
that's
yeah, I'm not going to sacrifice anything or anybody.
and I think and that's most witches I know. That's our creed. Like we harm to
Yeah,
none.
I'm
You
none.
don't want to.
Yep.
And we know we've probably once you start getting older, especially when I turned 40, um, it was much more. You start realizing your not only your karma more, but how things go full circle in these cycles and do come back to you. So
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah, I do. So
So,
why not just spread love and light? Because that's where you live. That's where you live. What you put out, you get back.
now, was your family, is witchcraft and magic in
And
are your parents or?
no, but I was really lucky. We didn't have any kind of religion or spirituality. My mom would have been a good old like Southern Baptist Protestant something. My dad, his father came from Turkish, and he would have been
Oh
Sephardic
wow.
Jew. But my grandfather was this big philosopher, a psychoanalyst, famous book writer, practically evangelical atheist. He did not
Oh.
believe in anything spiritual or magical or any form of God or gods. And he wrote books on it. He studied religion. He could quote anybody's holy book from whatever, but he thought it was all a weakness. So having this gift, I would go by anything, a church, a temple, a mosque, a park, whatever, and see the energy and I'd want to go in, but
Mhm.
that God thing or whatever, God's was a dirty word. I was 13 because who grandpa was this big famous Freudian, um, but um, was 13, wanted to, I think it was like a born again Christian. I was 13 and I wanted to go there and I wanted to go to church. I was at first scared to ask my mom, can I go to church? Cause like, that's the weak people. I mean, I would have felt can I go to a rave, maybe an orgy? Can I go to a big part, but versus church? And my mom's going, you can do anything you want. I'm like,
Wow.
I can do anything I want. So I became a seeker. I went to church and that didn't quite do it. I went to temple. I went to this. I went to Buddhist. I went to Tibetan Buddhist. I went to this and circled around New Age. And New Age was a little squeaky chiffony for me. I didn't like that. And then I discovered a pagan path. And even that's gone all over. But it was never taught out of me. It was never evil. I didn't have the church thing. Oh, that's of the devil. Luckily, it was. And now I read my grandpa's atheist books. It's like, oh, grandpa, you believe sort of the same thing I do. You just use different words.
Yes.
It's the word you use. You could use Judeo-Christian words. You could use Buddhist words. You could use pagan words. You could use science, academic words. If you take it down to energy, which is what I see, there's through lines of truth in everything. That's it. And just use the template you want to use.
That's it's interesting you say that because I was dating this guy who was an atheist. So we would have these very philosophical conversation, and it's always interesting when you're seeing other people's perspectives of their own beliefs or religions. And so the day that I figured out, I'm like, wait a minute, heathens and pagans and going all way when you take it way back, I'm like, technically atheists are part of the pagan umbrella. So, it just it was very it's one of those moments that, when you finally find a good argument for your belief here that um um and so it's always interesting to me, even with my own family, I mean, I'm sure everybody in my family thinks I'm crazy, but once I started doing research on my ancestors and stuff, they were all the same. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
just because you didn't call water divination magic doesn't mean that it wasn't. Like,
exactly.
they just had a different name for it 100 years ago.
Yeah,
So,
it blood because my I used to be seeing stuff like in the spirits. My mom was always like, "Yeah, grandma did that too." It was not
mhm,
like, there's
yeah,
somebody who's in the room. Yeah, yeah, grandma had that too. And I think my
yeah.
mom was as intuitive and psychic and connected as anybody. She just didn't choose to focus there.
Do you think it skips a generation?
It could.
I've
Again, and I
noticed
don't know if
this.
it's so much. I do think she was gifted because I have a
Mhm.
pretty much way older brother who was in Vietnam. And 2 times my mom sat up in bed, like straight up in bed, and she heard this crackle, 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 and she didn't know what it was. Those 2 times he caught on fire
Oh,
on the
wow.
other side of the planet. So whether that's a mother-son connection
Mhm.
or just energetic connection or whatever, you know.
I've had that kind of epiphany a few times where I thought, I wonder if we somewhere back in time, um, kind of did that as a survival mechanism and bound every other generation just to not that they didn't have the same gifts or weren't capable, but just to kind of give that generation a rest, so they weren't burned at the stake. And
Maybe.
kind of skip a generation, you know what I mean? Because everybody I talked to, they're like, well, it wasn't necessarily like the generation, their parents or anything. It was the ones of the grandparents or the great grandparents and things like that.
Yeah, that could be. It could be a survival thing. Or again, as humans, we always rebel
Well, yes.
against opposite. Like disciplined parents are not disciplined to their kids are opposite, and then they go back to the next generation. So we humans are funny that way. Yeah, strict.
I was the
Everything's
only
not strict.
redhead in my family, and my kids are, so I was bound to. I was like, I was already
Ah,
on the path. So, um, So I have looked back. You also did it was a vampires ball masquerade.
I'm a vampire too.
Yes, yes, and that's another thing that interested me because I've had such close gosh, I was dreaming of vampires from past lives, I'm assuming, by the time I was like 3. Before I had ever seen movies or anything. So that's always been um, something that called to me as well. But I
Yeah.
saw that you do these or I don't know that it's tours. It is in different locations,
We
correct?
travel the world. Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
actually he's my best friend in the world now. I met if like Father Sebastian. He's a
Mhm.
fangsmith and he's an impresario of the endless night the balls all over the world, from Paris to Austria to New York, Dallas, New Orleans. Halloween is a big one in New Orleans.
Oh,
We just
wow.
did Vegas. I mean, we just did LA, all over the world. Adventures, an episode of Ghost Adventures. I never know where I'm going. Zach keeps me in the dark completely, and I in the trunk of a car. No, but I was inside and I didn't know who was there, and I was seeing this stuff. I'm like, woman, baby, and that was Bloody Mary, the voodoo. Woman, baby, woman, and I seeing somebody flat out on the floor. And that was him. He had been knocked out by Bela Lugosi's. Here's this tall, good-looking guy with really long hair to his waist and beautiful fangs, and we just kind of hit it off. And he offered to fang me, and I'm like, well, you're cute and all that, but I'm married. But my idea of vampires isn't. I mean, I love them. I used to watch old Dark Shadows when I was a kid.
Mhm.
I was just that kid too. But I'm like, as far as philosophy and world, I go, I don't know. I don't like vamps. I don't like psychic vampires and stuff. I don't think
Mhm.
so. So I started reading his books. He's got all this whole Black Veil series. I go, this is my magic. This is elemental magic. Slightly different deities, slightly different everything, but we do beautiful magic. We'll be at a ball with it is a little hedonistic. It is a little we embrace life. And that's what we drink of life. We drink of life, but we'll be doing a ritual in the basement of beautiful, like a red mass or something for world peace, or we're doing a thing for Ukraine. It's
Yeah.
we think that Hollywood is messed up about witches. Hollywood's really messed up about vampires. Of course, not all. I'm sure there's bad witches and bad, but the saber tooth were non-sanguinary. It's not a blood drinking thing. It's pure
No.
magic. The best way I explain it, and I've got beautiful things, is that we just were in the UK together last week.
I saw
And we're going
that.
to Romania. Wewe're going to Romania. We were
Oh
supposed to
my
be in
goodness.
May, but that got pushed back. We're doing a whole Dracula, Vlad Tembis tour. But the biggest way for me to explain the difference of the way I see witches and vampires is our witches' cloaks. We either wear nice organic cotton or else Stevie. And our vampire cloak is the finest velvet with a red satin lining. That's the biggest difference.
That's so yes. I'm
And I
like
just lost sound. Hold on. My AirPod died. I might have to go to my recording. Ah, oh no. Will the other one work? My AirPod died. Hold on. Let me see if I can get out of this. Um, keep talking. No, I don't want to hear what you're saying. Wait, I can't hear. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Wait, I heard your laugh. This is so weird. Okay, let me go to, no, not mute. Settings. This is funny. This has never happened before. Camera, not car. We want audio,
There's always a
speaker,
glitch.
Mac Air. Okay, Mac Air speakers. Okay, can you say something now?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can't hear you. No, let me go back up here. Bluetooth sound. No, that's, oh no. Magic Mouse. AirPods are off. Huh. Help. Technology is not my strong suit.
Can you hear me? Still can't hear me. Oh, now you're muted.
Okay, unmute.
Unmute.
Camera settings. I am so sorry. Camera, audio, speakers, MacBook built in. Oh, try that. Now
I
say
don't know how to
something.
use a MacBook.
No. Oh
John
no.
Killian from XB Planets. I feel like you're
Oh
talking about my
no.
closet.
They
Yes.
were charged. Damn ghosts. Let me see if one can go back in there. Let me see if I could turn it on. You could hear me,
Oh,
right?
I heard. Yes, I heard
Let me see if
something.
I could turn it on something different setting. Audio. Speaker built in AKG. Okay, say something. Test.
Maybe take it off of
No, that doesn't work.
the Bluetooth.
Mac.
If it's
Test
on
1 2.
Bluetooth, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Okay, say something.
Can you hear me?
The speakers
Oh,
the
maybe.
speakers were loud. I tested it and they were loud. I just can't hear you. Ah! This is cracking me up.
I don't know.
We could do
I
a
don't.
sign language show. We could do just psychically speak to each other.
We
I'm
could,
looking at
but then the
everything.
rest of the
If
world
I
wouldn't be
go
able to
away
hear
and
us.
sign back in, can I use the same link?
I believe so. Let me.
We don't.
Next
I can't hear what you're saying.
show.
You're in the show. Can see and hear you.
Um,
I got the camera. We got the settings. I go audio. Mic is a mic. That's good. Built. MacBook. This should be working. Say something.
there's like a little. There's a song
No,
there.
I do the test and it works. It's the ghosts. I don't
It's
know.
the ghost.
I'm going to go and try to come back.
You can use the same link.
So I'm going to use the same link. If it's not, have them send me another one. I'm going to
Okay.
use the same link. Bye.
All right. Well, we lost Patty for a second. Hopefully, we can get her back because I am excited to hear more from her about her adventures and um, actually more about her being in Ukraine last week and going to Romania soon. So that's super exciting. Um, I swear this happens probably almost every show with me. There's some sort of gremlins in the system. Even on chasing, every time I'm either like my computer completely crashes right before I log in for the show, or we lose one of our guests or something scratchy happens. It's every time. Every time. Yeah. So, oh, you're back. Can
I
you
can
hear
hear
me?
you. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I was just saying, I was like, man, every single time, every one of my shows,
Really?
something, yes. But I mean, it happens like to my friends and stuff in person too. So it's just me.
It's
I don't
your
know.
energy.
It's my ghost.
I don't usually have this. I have never ever had this. These are always, but I cannot keep electronics going good. I always say everything's haunted. I literally like at all times have on 2 watches so I can hopefully one of them are correct. And as a rule, correct. One goes fast and one goes slow. I switch wrists and they're opposite, fast and slow. It's just the energy, whether it's the witchy thing or the psychic medium thing. I don't know, but I've
I
never lost my
drain.
sound before.
Yes, I can't even wear watches because the batteries just die too fast.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have been electrocuted a few times and struck by lightning. So there's,
Wow.
it's a weird thing. It
Uh,
happens. So I was going to ask, you were talking about your visit to Ukraine last week. How
no,
was that?
I wasn't in the Ukraine.
Oh,
I was in England. I was in the UK. I was not Ukraine. I
UK.
was in the UK.
Okay.
It was
I was like, man, how
great.
did you even travel there? I didn't know there
No,
were.
no, I did not. And no, I have so many friends from Ukraine now. I just had a Ukrainian witch on my show on my witching hour, and
Oh, wow.
they have such beautiful magic that was lost when they were under and stuff. UK was fabulous. It was called the Festival of the Unexplained, like
Oh
a
wow.
Paracon, and it was in Bosworth Hall. So it was like 3 hours up from like London and everything. And it was this beautiful old, I don't know, 1700s manor. I did seances with like old ancient ghosts and things, and wonderful people. It was really good. The Wraith Chasers were there, all sorts of fun, like haunted stuff. It was fun.
So how are you I know as far as ghost adventures, you said they don't tell you, where, which I prefer when I do investigations with people or I'm invited places, I prefer not to know anything about the location or people or whatever prior, just
Yeah.
because I don't want that
I don't want that left brain to go this. Yeah.
right,
And,
like
and
tainting my intuition or anything on that. So
yeah. And if I do know, like if it's a place, send them or something, then they don't have me go in and do a thing. Like the Reseda House, there's a couple of places. It's like they'll have me go introduce. Oh, there's people in there, and I have trouble clearing it, or this is what I've experienced. So they don't want anything that's not authentic or that's not this that could be staged in any way. Even when we were at the Cecil Hotel, I remember Zach called me a couple weeks beforehand. He goes, "We're going to be in LA and I need you." Okay, cool. All right. Didn't hear from him. That's normal. 2 weeks later, I get a call from him. He goes, "Okay, Patty, we're here in LA. And can you?" And I was down at my brother's in Long Beach. I'm like, 2 hours. And I'm thinking, oh my God, did I brush my hair today? Do I have time to put on makeup? It's 2 hours. I'm a girl. Film ready? What? So, and I don't think he said the Cecil. If he did, it was under his breath. He gave me an address downtown, and I'm walking up going, I didn't research. All I knew was the water tower girl, the girl. And I'm walking up going, oh, that's the water tower girl. And it's Skid Row. And a rat didn't want to let me in. I'm going right, the rat's going right, and I'm going left, and we're dancing in the middle of the street. I go, usually they scurry away, but no. Are you protecting me? Are you possessed? I walk in, and this building's coming in on me, and yeah, he's just like, and they show up, and I'm just getting more and more depressed and despondent. That's what this
Mhm.
place does to you. And then he's like, okay, and they got the cameras all stretched out. He goes, okay, Patty, there's 14 floors, there's 700 rooms, they are all open. You tell us where to go. You lead us.
Wow.
And I led him right to a room and almost jumped out a window. Then I read him. It's like, he's like, sit down, sit down. Why are you opening the window? And I'm like in my trance state going, why is he
Mhm.
yelling at me? He never yells at me. I didn't realize I led him right to this place, and I'm opening the window going, I got to get out of here.
Yeah. It's I've done mostly cold case type things and just been drawn to a lot of uncovering crime type more so than like battlefields and stuff like that, um and it's very, very a lot of times I've only gone with a few investigators. I've gone by myself or, with my own group or my own friends or whatever, um, uh, my entire life because it's very hard to concentrate on other energies that you're not like stranger energies, when you're trying to uncover something at one of these places. But that's how I feel like even people assume that even the most experienced, I probably like you, as far as mediumship, always know how to protect themselves. It's not, no, we're just as vulnerable
Yeah.
to everything as, and I'm
Yeah.
by far not as experienced, but
Yeah, no, and I am versed in every kind of protection, but still, and anytime I've ever gotten in
mhm,
trouble, and I have gotten in trouble, it's been my fault though. I've dropped the ball. I haven't done the
yeah,
right thing. I was at this one, my big story, you know, um, it was a house, old Hollywood house built by Charlie Chaplin. Rolling Stones lived there.
oh wow,
Marilyn Manson lived there. He's my neighbor, and literally, I let somebody get out of hand and get disrespectful, and one of the four cameramen burst into flames. It's like, oh, that's not good. Like spontaneous combustion, angel
yeah,
wings of fire up his back. Cool medium witch Patty becomes a medic Patty, which I'm a drop and roll. I'm calling in my protector to shut it down. He burst into flames. He wasn't not standing in front of a fireplace. And it turned
oh, I
out
got
great. The
chill,
script was written about it, a movie, blah, blah, blah. And then another time, even in my own house, and this was a Black Dahlia thing, because I've done a couple at the Black Dahlia house, both with Ghost Adventures and then with another show. And he was evil and dark, that doctor. And I somehow let him sneak into my house because we were doing a thing. I had Associated Press reporter coming, and I didn't set up my wards and set up my stuff because I was just with my producer at the time. And all of a sudden, I get pushed up to a chair. I hear this crack, crack, crack. I'm like, uh-oh. And I'm sliding down onto the floor, and she's going, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Uh-uh." And I always say I'm okay. I could have my head cut off. It's like, it's a flesh
Oh,
wound.
I know. That's how I'm like, it's fine. It's fine.
But I'm like, no, I thought I broke my ribs, but I had to go to urgent care. It hit me so hard. There was no human behind me. It ripped all the cartilage off my floating ribs and ribs. That hard. My bad. I dropped the ball. But it is serious. It is real. You have to.
Yes. Have you ever a comment by John Killian from XP Planets? The one you were previously talking about is this is the Elisa Lam Hotel? Is that
The
the one?
Cecil Hotel is the Elisa Lam Hotel, and the serial killer
Okay.
Richard Ramirez lived and killed there. Another serial killer from Germany lived there.
Wow.
More people
Where's
jumped
that?
out the windows there. It's in downtown LA, Los Angeles.
Okay. Okay.
We did a 2-hour Ghost Adventures on it. That was the opening of the Discovery Channel. Netflix did a big special on it. I just filmed. It hasn't aired yet. A CW show, Mysteries Decoded. I just filmed on that. It's the craziest place I've ever been. It makes people want to overdose, jump out windows.
And interesting. Speaking XV Planets, that was one of the first ones that I went with an investigative team, a paranormal team. I don't know if you've ever been to Atchison, Kansas.
I'm going to Kansas, but I'm not been there yet.
So Atchison is actually, I believe it was the historical capital of Kansas, but Atchison, this place is a whole other. It's the ley lines, it's the people, it's everything in that town. They have so many haunted places, and vortexes, and this place. So we went to, I met them. They came from North Carolina, and this was a day before Yule, actually, in December. And I met them at the Sally House, and the Sally House is very interesting, kind of like what you're talking about, as it plays off each individual's fears, and just, man, if you walk into that place, you better have conquered some of your own demons. Otherwise, that's what it uses against you. It's like the entire house itself. Aside from, I picked up that it was almost like I kept hearing the song Soul Asylum, and like a Soul Train, things like that. So it was kind of a crossroads for many, many different entities. And so if you have a chance, if you have time when you're in Kansas, I would love to go there with you, because that place it's about 40 miles from Holton, where you'll be at Josephine. So that is.
I don't know what my schedule is. I don't know anything. I just get on a plane.
Yes, I get
but
that.
I've heard of the Sally House, so I would like to get whether this trip or the next, definitely.
There's also, and there's a few other places in Atchison that are all within a few blocks of each other, actually. And then they have the Benedictine College, the Catholic school. And so the Pope, it used to be said that he wouldn't even fly over that town because it is so there's so much going on there. And I've experienced like UFOs and all kinds of stuff in that town. So it's a very, very interesting place, but not a lot of people know about it, surprisingly, internationally anyways. The big one, though, I saw that you said your Romania trip has been rescheduled
to
for
November. Yeah.
November.
Wow. Our vampire tour. Yeah. The birth of the vampire tour. Yeah. Because we're going to be there on both, I think, Bram Stoker's and Vlad Tepes. Sebastian is an expert in it, both in the mythology, in the history, in the philosophy, as well as the culture. Again, the spiritual side.
Right.
vampires who are just dress up. There's three kinds. There's just the we dress up people. There's the role play people. There's the spiritual people, which we are, and we call ourselves vampire witches. Actually, it's um,
Wow.
it's beautiful.
I've always I'm like, maybe I'm a hybrid between, a
Yeah,
vampire and
we're
a
all
witch
hybrids.
and
I
a
think
werewolf and
all of the
whatever.
above.
I just call them the
Well,
monsters that but in a good way.
yeah, in a good
In a
way.
good
I'm a
way.
good werewolf vampire witch.
Um I and that's something I started having dreams and everything about Dracula and Vlad the Impaler and all of these things. Gosh, probably back in like September, maybe. Um, and I remember seeing, so I think somewhere in my past life, I was, even a lot of other readers have told me that I have a lot of maybe either spirit guides or ancestors from that area. And so I don't know if I'm, kind of existing in multiple timelines when this happens. And I go back to that era when I was in the clothing and all of that, because it's so fascinating to me. I've always
Yeah.
been so full to
Well,
that.
maybe you should come with us in
Oh my
November.
God, I would
We're
love
going
to
to
come with you.
we're going to that scary forest, which is like the world's second most scariest as compared to the one in Japan. We're going to that forest. We're going to the witch's pond. I'm doing ritual at the witch's pond. This
Oh
is that kind of
my
tour.
gosh.
This is an
So,
adventure tour. People
see, maybe that's why it was postponed, because I wouldn't have been able to
maybe.
get my new passport by, May or whenever it was originally.
Yeah, no, and yeah, apply early because they're taking a long time. You should come. It'll be
Oh,
Sebastian
I would
and
love
myself, and they're also bringing James Anito, who's a paranormal investigator and priest, but he's a cool
Wow.
priest. He's not I'm like, 'cause at first she's like, "We're going to priest." I'm like, "I don't want this to be a good and evil thing," but that's not who he is. It's not how, he's
Joshua Benjamin said, for reincarnation to exist, there would be no spirits to contact through mediums.
I have an answer for that. No time and space on the other side, Joshua, in my experience, my truth, my experience. Because I always thought that too. But if there's no time and space on the other side, past, present, future, all the same, we created this timeline of string
Yes.
theory kind of stuff that's going on. But I always thought that I knew who I was in a past life. I mean, somebody told me, I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I do start out skeptic. And then I knew everything about that person. We were the same lines. She died at 30. I was born 30 years later. Instead of dying at 30, I really came into my power at 30. I picked out her house without knowing the address and then it was
Yep.
verified afterwards. So, okay, I am this person. I am this person. I've been to her grave. Insane coincidences that weren't. And then okay, I'm her. I'm reincarnation of her or partially of her or whatever. And then she comes to one of my seances. I'm like, how does this work? If I'm you and you here and you're buried over there, how? No time and space. And
Yep.
again, that makes sense. So you can be, and I do think like if we get reincarnated somewhere, there's part of that spirit could say and watch their grandkids grow up in that form.
I've
Our
always thought that too.
human.
I mean, obviously, you can have like our spirits can be in more than one place at a time, even like even down to the degree of being fragmented in many, which I've experienced, which isn't always good. I mean, you do have to call parts of it back once in a while, but you just want to help everybody, damn it. But yeah, I've experienced that too, as far as being in multiple, and that used to kind of scare me. That's something that
And
I
I
think,
think, yeah, that's sort of like a deja vu thing. When I went into this person's house for the first time, it was like here and there at the same time. I knew every inch of it, what had been changed. And I had that deja vu thing that we get
yeah.
for those mere seconds, but it just kept going. Was I there 5 minutes, 5 hours? I don't know.
Have you ever seen, I can't even tell you, I don't really watch TV very often, but it was called Once Upon a Time. I'm always intuitively drawn to like movies and TV shows and things that might show me something or tell me something. It's called Once Upon a Time. And the characters, it's fascinating to me because I'm like, that makes more sense. I mean, to explain it that way, if you're trying to, you know, kind of teach people how that works as far as reincarnation and being able to be living in different timelines, and it's characters. It's like Snow White and the evil stepmother and Prince Charming and all this, but in modern times, like they live in Storybrooke Village or something, and they constantly in every past life is a different story, is a different like Beauty and the Beast and all these fairy tale stories, but each character plays a different part. Like sometimes Snow White's the evil one, sometimes and that's how it works in real life, and that's how. But not only do they all play different roles in their past lives, they go to those different stories in the past or in the future all the time just by walking through portals. And so it's a good way to explain. And then the little boy, Snow White's son or whatever, is reading this story and literally manifesting his world. So then he has to start, kind of watching what he reads or makes up or what his imagination, because he's creating the world around him. And I'm like, this is a perfect example of how we actually live. So, and I have no idea. I feel bad that I don't know who created that,
I
but
do believe we do create the world around us. We each create our own world, whatever. And in all my belief systems, it's very close to the old Sumerian, which is very close to almost the Matrix. You kind of go to the world you believe in, create the world that you believe in. You go to the heaven you believe in. I did that pace in time. I was at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, another beautiful haunted, mostly good happy ghosts, because I like good happy ghosts versus the serial killers. But I was staying in the Montgomery Clift room, which is supposed to be the most haunted room, 928. He's an old actor from the 40s or 50s. He lived there for 3 months while they were filming From Here to Eternity, and he lived in this tiny little room. And people all the time hear a trumpet because he had to play a trumpet in the movie, so he practiced it. So they set me up, and they had all these GoPros and cameras around, and they left. And I brought a trumpet with me to sleep with the trumpet. So I blew the trumpet, and him and his
cool.
it was so funny. When I first walked in, there was this other male spirit, not him, and not real Hollywood, older guy, and he's like, well, not in this literal words, but it was basically like, who are you? Well, who are you? Well, I'm Patty. He's like, I'm Monty's confidant. I'm his attaché. He's coming up all these words. And I'm like, you're his boyfriend. I go, you could say that now. It's a new one. That's cool. And I had no idea that the guy was gay or bi or whatever he was, but it was so cute. He was so protective of him. But I blew the trumpet, and they totally knocked me out, like Slippy and Mickey. But in the morning, I was doing that time-space thing. I would be like in the shower waiting for the crew to come back, and I'm like, I'm in the shower. I already took a shower. No, I didn't take a shower. I was like brushing my teeth. I already did this. No, I didn't already. I was being like tapping into that Montgomery Clift where he
I'm
probably
so glad somebody else does that.
living there for 3 months. It's the tiniest room, and yet the toothbrush hardly fits on the sink. And I was like frustrated, like I was frustrated every day. It's like, this is my first time here. It's like, it was cool.
I'm so glad somebody else does that, because there's so many, and I mean, especially psychics and stuff. We do that all the time, because I'll be doing things. I'm like, wait, did I already say that out loud to that person, or was I just thinking in my head? Did they ask me out loud? Because then it freaks them out. You don't want to scare people, especially like strangers in public, because I do that too all the time. So, I'll be like at a business or a bank or something, and I'll just go and do what I heard them say, but they haven't said it yet. And then they're like, then they think they're crazy. They're like, did I say that out loud? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
And it's completely accidental. I don't try to read into everybody. I don't try to get into everybody's head, but it happens.
Yeah. I have a great big old on-off switch, and I turn it off all the time. I don't want to go to the grocery store and see somebody's dead mother. Like, your mother wants, I don't want to be Long Island medium. Your mother wants to talk to you. It's like, shh, going for groceries.
You have to, otherwise it
Yeah.
will make you crazy. It took me a long time. I didn't have anyone to teach me, or then there weren't schools or anything a few years ago, and I literally almost went insane because it was after I had another near death experience, and I could not turn it off. And so I would be in rooms of people and see, somebody like burying a body over here, and somebody over here that was so depressed and sad they were thinking about ending their life, and somebody over here that was hysterically happy. And I'm like, I can't do this. And it just it like a room full of literally voices everywhere, but in my head, but they were real people, obviously.
Right, right.
Like, you
Or
can't tell
not.
people you have voices in your head. Like, well,
No, you can't. You can't. It's like, yeah.
and
Now that
so
everybody's on like a headset, and it's like everybody in olden days they would have thought like talking to themselves. Now, no, it's my AirPod. Yeah.
yeah.
Huh.
Sometimes I wear that like to the gym and stuff to drown everybody else's angry thoughts out, especially nowadays.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I am, oh my gosh, it is already 9 o'clock. We are
No,
almost
we're
out of
late.
time. I am so thankful you joined us, Patty. It has been a pleasure, and I would love to have you back to talk about some of your future projects. And gosh, I look forward to. I can go meet you in June. That's right around the
Yes,
corner
I
here.
know.
And
I can't wait. Let's do that, and then I'm going to get you on my show too, my
oh,
little
that'd be
witchy
exciting.
show. That would be great.
I I've actually never. I used to live right down the street from Hotel Josephine, but I have never toured it. I've been drawn there a
Wow.
lot, but I've never been inside. It was actually just remodeled and stuff in the last. I want to say, the last year, I think. So,
Okay, cool. Well, I
um,
can't wait, and I look forward to meeting you live and nationwide.
yes, and I am gonna try. Man, I'm gonna get on this passport thing so I can go to Transylvania, because
Yes,
that's like a dream of mine. That
it's
would be.
gonna be really like once in a the tour guide, it's a Mysterious Adventure Tours, so it is adventurous tours. It's not for people who are going to Disneyland, or not that there's any, I love Disneyland, but it's
No,
that
hey, they
it's
abduct
not for
people
the
at
weak of
Disneyland.
heart. It's not for the we're doing magic, we're doing, and again, you're gonna be with the most educated, well-known, famous vampire in the world, and then me,
Yes,
and then you.
yes, and the most like a very well-known fellow witch and vampire. That's, oh my God, I would. Other people are like, "What the hell's wrong with you, Trish?"
I
No,
know.
that's
We're
that's
like,
like my dream.
"Ah!"
Okay. So, where can people find you, Patty? As far as your main, I know you have your main website. You have quite a few, a few
Yeah,
different.
I know. Bathroom walls across America. No, PattiNegri.com, PattiNegri.com is the hub. And from there, you can get to Facebook, Patti Negri Psychic Medium, the one with the blue check. I'm not verified on Twitter or Instagram for some reason, but that's Patti.Negri. But if you go to PattiNegri.com, you can get everywhere. I have a big YouTube page with, I teach, again, I like to teach free. You can listen to, like, do a lemon spell, do a this, do a that. So, yes, that's a nice home base. You can get everywhere from there.
And make sure you go from her homepage, because um I had added you on Facebook, and your website, and followed those, and your podcast. And then I thought it was you adding me on Instagram, but again, it was another scam person, because all of a sudden, who I thought was Patty messages me on Instagram, at like 4 in the morning one day, and asked me if I want a reading. Uh, and I'm like,
No, I
Patty.
don't. I don't solicit. It's against my
I
religion.
know.
I don't if somebody wants a reading, they come to me. And
Yes.
I see people, they say they're my mother or they're my daughter, and then why are you paying, Fred Jones in Siberia? It's like, oh yeah, that's my second account. No, I don't solicit you. And people fall for it all the time because I'm not famous.
That's
I'm not Brad Pitt or Zach Bagans. I'm not. People think that but I will never ever contact anybody. I will never ever tell anybody they need a reading.
Yeah,
ever.
well, and especially, it's very most like I don't read individuals, but as far as in our community, it's like an unspoken. We don't just go around to other psychics and mediums and stuff and being like, I mean, people ask me all the time if they can, and which is fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. But they're not messaging me.
I know.
Would you
Yes, and
like a
give me some
reading? I'm
money.
like,
You need, yeah, and I'm sure they have a demon attached or they need to get. It's like, oh my God.
yes, but
Oh,
I hate the victims so make sure you go to Patty's actual
Page.
website. That way you don't have these
Yeah.
mix-ups, and
Yeah.
you can access her real
Hmm.
real
Yeah.
accounts.
Yeah. And I have a book.
Yes, yes, your book.
A little
Do
book.
tell.
Old. Again, it's super simple. It for book. It's read it. I spent more time unwriting it than writing it on purpose because I wanted it simple. Like, oh, how to talk to the dead. Okay, how to keep your house clear. Oh, okay. Love magic. Oh, okay. Health and weight. Oh, okay. Just simple. My little elemental exercises. So whether you're an experienced pro, been doing this for years, or you're not anything, that you don't call yourself a witch or a psychic or a medium, you just want some like little life hacks to get in. That's why I wrote it.
I love this simple though. I think we try to complicate so many or even we just again back to the assuming that everybody knows what we're talking about when half the
Yeah.
time we don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know what
People
we're
are
talking
like,
about.
why do mediums speak in tongues and rhymes? And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know. That's how our heads work.
Cadence. It's cadence. Yeah. So yeah. So it's for everybody. It's not offensive. It doesn't turn anybody into anything. It's just like little life things easier. So
And you have gosh, Paraflix.
I have a streaming service. Yes.
Yes.
Paraflix.com. If you like this, it's all paranormal. We have some great horror. We have some great spirituality. It's like Netflix, but all paranormal. Paraflix.com. It's like $3 a month or something like that. We have 80% original content. If you do like the Ghost Adventures, all those kind of
Mhm.
shows, and you've seen most of those already, we have all sorts of shows you've never seen before, but quality produced shows.
Yeah,
We're
we've
always looking for
actually
content.
we've interviewed quite a few people that have shows on Paraflix. Just recent, like smaller, um paranormal groups
Mhm.
that just started their new shows. So that's really
Yeah.
interesting. And everybody's like, Paraflix, since it's how long has that been around? You founded
A year
that?
today.
A year. Okay.
Today is our
But we don't count
anniversary.
last year because it kind of,
Yeah.
we skipped
We
2021.
skip. My partner, I have two partners, Natalie, beautiful Natalie Jones in Texas, and Nick Bonani in the UK. A cute, beautiful 20-something-year-old. So it's the three of us who own Paraflix, and then Nick and Father Sebastian and I own University Magickus. So yeah,
Oh,
but
nice.
it's our year birthday today.
Well, happy year birthday to
Hey,
Paraflix.
thanks.
And and I love it. I love everything you do. I'm just so and I keep finding more every day. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this. Yeah,
I
I'm
know.
like a little kid when it comes
I
to
always like, how do you do all that and travel like 20 times a year? It's like, I always go, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And it's like, no, I won't.
I tell
I
people that too. I
won't.
get like 3 hours of sleep.
I do 4.
There's
We're
probably
witches. We don't need more.
yeah, right, right. We're the undead here.
Yeah,
But
and be a witch and a vampire, you do really good. Yeah.
and we don't age, so
Right.
really
I'm 700.
you look and you don't look a day over
Over 600.
no. Well, I have enjoyed this so much, Patty. Thank you. And thank you to all of our listeners. Follow up with if you're wanting to know more about just diving into magic, beginning, and I have looked through the courses. They're really for everybody. So check that out. Look up the new shows on Paraflix and add Patty your book too. Gosh,
Thank
I
you.
need to read. There's so many things I need to do.
Ah, thank you. You're a great host. Thank you for having me on. I look forward to next time and having you on mine. Thank
Yes. So we will see you all. Thanks to all the listeners, and have a good night.